So we had this crazy idea last year when we were waiting in line for Ubers together that, hey, we could have saved the environment and shared a ride up to money experience together.
And I would like to say I offered Jason to come in my Uber, and
I felt guilty canceling.
No. He said no.
So we're headed up to money experience, put on by MX, which there is no better time to talk about the experience of money.
Yes.
And I think it's easy for us to throw out and say, oh yeah, the experience of money, digital transformation, or embedded. But what do you think of the experience of money?
Okay, well, we were just mentioning this, but I zoomed in on Venmo partnering with Hallmark for like their cards. So it's like a QR code, I think, to scan for a milestone moment, right? And so it just makes me think like, here we are in all these digital payments, but there is still, humans still really like that physical thing when you're recognizing a moment. So I don't know, that's a little bit on my mind.
Well, so it's interesting, this morning in our stand-up, Peter Davey, formerly head of innovation for the Clearinghouse, recently joined Alloy Labs. Disclaimer there, but shout out, hey Peter Davey, Payment Jedi, thanks for joining.
What were you thinking?
Yeah, what were you thinking? One of the things that he famously says is a payment is a payment is a payment, but what you just described immediately, like I would say, a payment is a payment is a payment, but a moment is a moment is a moment.
Yeah.
And we sometimes lose that it isn't about the payment, it's about the moment.
It's about the moment. It's about recognition of something, perhaps. And if you think about, I think about when my grandparents, when I was a little girl, giving me $1 bills, and I was so excited. I was like, look at me.
Well, what about the silver dollar bill? Right? I still have one.
That was you. I didn't get those.
Yeah. My wife actually has a $2 bill.
Okay.
That she holds as sacred.
Yeah,
right?
Like those.
But it's the emotional attachment.
Yeah.
I think that comes with it. The payment is the payment is the payment. But
even on Venmo, so people love writing fun messages and emojis, but it's just clearly that this partnership shows but maybe there's a physical thing that's missing, that's taking apart from the connection.
Yeah, when I got the emoji part, and I thought it was a little silly that you were forced in the early days, well, still are forced to put the emoji in. And when they started working on the Bitmoji, right, the movable thing, and it was we were in discussions with them for a partnership, and they're like, oh, it's going to be huge. And I'm like, that's stupid. And I also thought Crocs were stupid. So if Jason says something is stupid, go bet on it.
Yes.
But, the emotion you add to it is so powerful. And on the flip side, I know this is near and dear to your heart, there's also a negative emotion often attached to money. And you're very passionate about financial health. How are you thinking about the future and the experience of money related to actually the reduction of stress?
Gosh, I wish it would cause the reduction of stress, because I feel like, for more than a decade, we've been talking about all these tools that are, designed to help people, but, there hasn't been that much progress. People are still living check to check. And I know people say, oh, but sometimes that check is high. Sometimes it is, but often it's not. People aren't making enough money to afford, life things. And I think one of the biggest disconnects is, the mental health and the money situations. And there's so many people who are afraid to open up their bank account to see their balance, you know what I mean? And so to me that is such a profound problem, and it's
in all across the spectrum.
Yes.
Because I think about the number of times, too many times, I get an alert from multiple providers telling me there's a change to my credit score.
Mm-hmm.
And even though I am not currently in the market for more credit, and I know that my score is perfectly sufficient, it is an absolute adrenaline spike when I see that alert hit.
Yeah, maybe you think that identity theft.
Yeah, is it identity theft? Is something else? Do I want to check? Do I not want to check?
Yeah.
And if I were living closer to the edge, I can only imagine that the impact would be that much more profound.
Right.
So I wonder as I wander through the mountains here of lovely Utah.
Yeah. It's a turn.
As everyone watching this is getting sick.
Yeah, and look, the trees are changing colors.
Trees are turning behind us. Our friend Alex Johnson takes on this idea of self-driving money, and people don't want their money to be autonomous. And there's something to be said from behavioral economics that set it and forget it when it comes to things like 401k. are the most profound impacts you can have on your financial health, right? Make a decision once and the benefit compounds. But to Alex's point, doing that is also exceedingly stressful.
Yeah.
Because I think people also worry about making the wrong choice, that it may actually delay you making the choice.
Wrong choice, or like, can I actually afford this person? You know, I remember my first job and there was a 401k and I was like, oh, do I make enough money to do this?
Oh, interesting.
And I wasn't sure.
So did that
I'm
mean you
still not
optimized
sure.
low?
Yeah, I did.
Interesting. And did you go back and revisit it?
No, I did not until I got a different job that paid more.
And, well, but not only did you pay more, it forced you to go look at the piece of paper.
Yeah, and I was like,
determine.
uh-oh. And I'm still looking at my 401k, which is not very high.
So I wonder, is the happy medium, do we need empowerment for decision making, but we need autonomous pushes, what are autonomous prompts, is maybe, to use another Alex Johnson phrase, to workshop this. Do we need autonomous driving of the Mary and Jason, you know, here's a choice you should be making right now, are you?
I think you have to make that all available, because I do think, like, for certain pockets of the population, yeah, outsourcing these decisions could be helpful, but for other people it won't be helpful. Think about all the people like patching income together, like they don't really know what they're gonna make, and that model behind whatever the app is doing might not understand the cash flow either, and then things are gonna get gnarly.
But that's where I think AI comes in, different than literacy. I think what you just described is why financial literacy has never worked.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
It is let me give you a bunch of data and kind of decisions that could or should be made, but you don't know which ones apply to you.
Yeah.
And what the implications are.
Yeah.
All right, so we are pulling up to the experience. I hope you've enjoyed this experience and have not gotten sick. I can no longer feel my left arm.
If you're not sick today, you might be sick because we're doing our spicy chicken tomorrow. And
Spicy chicken.
Neff seems to think we're gonna have stomach issues.
Oh, come on, it'll be fine. Oh, by the way, talk about unfair advantage. Do you know the two of them both come from naturally spice eating locations versus the two of us coming from the upper Midwest, where we think salt, who uses salt and pepper? It's too spicy. All right, more on FinTech Hot Takes tomorrow.